All right, Brandon, here to look at another problem. I mean, this looks like a great design on a scan of a stone cast, but you shared with me after you finished this design, produced the file, it didn't fit in the mouth. So then the doctor went to an intraoral scan, and but you didn't want to have to start from scratch. You wanted to take this design off a stone cast and move it to an intraoral scan seamlessly and quickly to save time and not have to start from the beginning. So walk us through what you did here.
Yeah. So this case came to me with stone models, and I designed this prosthetic here, and I designed it to where I could layer some composite on the tissue. So when this went to the doctor for try-in, we found out that the initial impression was not quite right. It was done with a traditional impression with impression posts, and those impression posts either weren't captured completely in the impression, so they moved a little, or when we poured it up, something moved on us. So we had some divergence in those. So luckily, we did this as a try-in. We printed this in some cheap material, sent it to them, and found that the implants were divergent. So what the doctor did was they did a scan for us, and they gave us some more information. So what they actually gave us here is the temporary that the patient is currently wearing in the mouth. Then they gave us the edentulous scan of the implants, along with the opposing again and the scan body scan. So what you'll notice is all of that is in a nice alignment with each other. So um, the problem that I have is the original file is aligned in a different position in space. So what I have to do to correct this is I have to realign everything together. So what I typically will do in 3Shape is I'll create what I call a dummy order, or a scan fixing order or something like that, which is just an order I have no intention of doing any kind of design on, but I use it so I can access the additional scan tool in 3Shape. So I'm going to close out of this, and I'm going to come in here to my dental manager, and I'm going to show you how I do this. So what I do is I just create a new order. You can name the order whatever you want. So I'm just going to name it Rebel 3D additional scans.
This episode is brought to you by Rebel Crown. Are your dental crowns seated in minutes with flush margins and personal one on one service? If not, it's your time to rebel. The Rebel Crown is designed by your personal technician who you can call or text anytime. Milled with premium harvest nanozirconia, manufactured here in the USA with a 1 week turnaround time. Learn more at rebel3d.com. That's REBEL 3D.com.
And then it does not matter what kind of indication I set this up for. So I'm just going to set it up for a single unit crown using the temp on prepared model workflow. And the reason I do that is because it's the shortest workflow. It doesn't take as long to load. And then I just turn off the opposing so that I don't have to import a whole bunch of scans on this. I can just import one scan and go. So once I set up the order, materials, none of that matters because again, it's not going to be used to produce anything. It's just here for creating or aligning the scans. So I'm going to select OK. I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to import a scan in. So I'm going to go to where my scans are here on the desktop. And I'm just going to pull in one of the scans. Really doesn't matter which one I use. So I'll just pull in this edentulous arch scan here. And now I'm going to go in like I'm designing the case. And then usually to get this plane out of the way, because it can kind of be in my way when I'm trying to align things, I'll just click here on the sculpt upper jaw. And then now I can go ahead and start bringing in my other scans. So to find the scans, they're going to be over, or the additional scans tool, it's going to be over here on the right. It's this blue icon that looks like a tooth with like a magic wand touching it.
Hmm.
So when you select it, it gives you this box up here at the top right. And then I'm just going to click this load button here. And then I'm just going to go and go back to that folder, and I'm going to start pulling in all of my scans here. So I'll just start from the top of the list.
Gotta pull them all in one at a time.
Yeah. Now the key to this, so I've already got the edentulous arch in here, so I'm going to go to the opposing. Um, you want to make sure, so you can see right here, it has this field called upper jaw. You want to make sure all the scans you pull in are on the same jaw. It doesn't matter if they're upper or lower or not. It's just so that we can move everything around and align it all together.
So you want them all on the same jaw, even if they're an upper or a lower scan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the way that this tool works is you can't align an upper jaw to a lower jaw and vice versa. So if I'm trying to, let's say I bring in a bite scan as an upper jaw, that means I can't align any of my lower jaws to that scan.
Got
So
it.
that's why I want to make
Otherwise,
sure.
it'll reorient it in the axis of the upper jaw, or
Well,
the
just it
orientation.
won't even let me align it. It only
Oh,
lets you align lower jaws to other lower jaws and upper jaws to other upper jaws. Um,
gotcha.
so once I get the last of these scans in, then I can start doing my alignments. And then there's my last one here is my temp bridge. So now I've got everything in here that I need. So you can see my stone model is up here with my design, and then all of my aligned intraoral scans are down here. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to go over here to this align button. Um, and I can see when I drop this down, I have all of my scans in here. And then on this one, I have all of my scans as well. So what you have to do in this step is you have to choose a scan to align and then one to align that scan to. So that's why there's two drop downs here. Now, the predicament I have is that if I go up here and let's say I align the upper jaw, it's going to leave the design right where it's at. So because they are separate scans, so you can see as I start to turn some of these things off, so you can see my design here is originally a separate scan. So there's one extra step that I'll do here. Um, so I'm going to bring back in just my stone model here and my design. What I need to do is I need to combine those into one scan and save them separately so that I can then have alignment points. So what I need to do here is go to the save side here, select my upper jaw. So you'll see in that box it pictures it here.
Hmm.
If I hold the control key down on my keyboard and select the bridge now they're combined together in here. So I need to save that.
So you're saving it as like a merged file.
Yeah.
Does it become a single monolithic object in 3Shape at this point, or is it just two pieces of data merged in the same XYZ coordinates?
It's going to be two pieces merged together, but it's not going to be in the design yet. Once I save it, I'm going to name it. Um, so I named it stone model and CAD file. I like to be super descriptive with my files so that I don't
Yeah.
mess
You know
up
what
and
they
bring the
mean.
wrong stuff in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll save it here. And then I'm going to go back to the load here and I'm going to load that file in. Um, so now it gives me that CAD file and that stone model merged together.
This episode is brought to you by the Badger Screw Breakthrough, the ultimate prosthetic screw designed by engineers, breaking through all the screw noise. optimized for direct to multi-unit abutment cases with a sleek 2mm diameter. Mill faster, build stronger, hide those screw channels. American made with best-in-class performance across multiple metrics. The Badger screw prevents screw loosening and reduces fractures. Great prosthetic outcomes start with great engineering. Visit smartmouthtechnologies.com today. That's smartmouthtechnologies.com.
So you'll see as I turn off all the other files, now I have this one piece file here. So I only have one scan turned on here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to align this file to the new intraoral scans. So what I'll do is I'll go here to align, and I'm going to use the stone model and CAD file, and I'm going to align that to my preparation scan here because that was this edentulous arch scan.
Gotcha.
So what I'll do, sometimes when they're like kind of sitting over top of each other like this, it's hard to get them to align. So I'll use this move button here to move it kind of to the side so I can see it in there a little bit better. And what I'm actually going to use is the
Okay.
Rugai here.
Yeah.
That's the easiest alignment point that I can see on both scans. And just to kind of mention this, look at the level of detail difference between the stone model and the intraoral.
Oh, yeah. It's huge.
It's huge. So I prefer to design this kind of stuff on intraoral scans because there's so much better detail and you get more of an accuracy. And on something like this, where you're going to see that accuracy is the not the implant fit, but the actual tissue fit where it sits against the tissue. You're
Yeah.
going to just get a better fit there. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to click on this points button here, and I'm going to make sure 3-point alignment is checked off. And then I'm just going to pick 3 points that I can see. So I can see this one here and that one. And then I can also see here and here. And then I can also see this one and that one. So once I pick those 3 points on both, I'll hit the align button. And now you'll see that they're aligned to each other. So as I turn some of this stuff back on, you can see here's the temporary bridge. And this is so I have the temp bridge now. I have my scan body scan. I have my opposing in alignment. And then I have I still have my other two objects sitting out here floating in space. So if I look at this, if I turn off, let's say the temporary bridge, there is my CAD file aligned. And you can see it's slightly off occlusal wise, but I can correct a lot of that in the design once everything's aligned. So now what I need to do is I'll take and go into here. So this is the scan that I'm aligning. So now I'm going to go here and I'll find my stone model, and I'm going to align it now to my stone model in CAD file that I just moved into position. Everything else I'll turn off. And the nice thing about this too is when you hover over these scans up here, it tells you which ones they are. So here's my stone model. And I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to move it off to the side so I can see a little bit better. And then I'm going to use the points.
You're aligning the stone model to the stone model?
Yes. So this stone model is now in the correct position because I aligned it to the intraoral scan. Now I need to align these two separated files to that new position so that everything's in alignment.
Okay.
So now I just align that. So now what you're going to see is when I turn this model off and I turn on, say, the opposing, See how it's now in alignment? So now I'm
And
starting to pull all the files into that alignment.
in the vertical alignment you're working from is the intraoral scan.
Yes.
And then did the doctor use a leaf gauge to capture the bite?
No, they used the temporary bridge that the patient's currently wearing for the bite.
Ah, got it.
So now that I have the stone model aligned, the last thing I need to align is my CAD file. And I'm going to use this scan to align it to because it's in the right position now. So now I'll go here and I will use the design file and I will align it to the stone model and CAD file combined. And here I don't really need to move anything. So I'm just going to use 3 common points again. So now what I have is my CAD file is now aligned to my intraoral scan. And it's
You make it
also
look so easy. That I want to mention that I can see here, so on your slider bar on the upper right,
Mhm.
hover over them and slide down because you can see all the file names. No, the slider bar,
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
so
So
you
the diligence in naming the files really pay off here. So you
oh,
know
yeah.
which one's which.
Exactly, because whatever they're named as far as the file goes is actually what they're named here in the, uh, additional scans tool as well. So you really wanna make sure that you do your diligence and rename the file so you know exactly what you're pulling in and what you're working with.
Otherwise, you'll be guessing, pulling your hair out, and then get super frustrated and then give up.
Yeah. So now, I have my CAD file is aligned to my intraoral scan file. So it's also aligned to my scan body scan, and it's aligned with my opposing here. So now I can go in and I can create another case and I can adapt this design to the new scans and new bite and everything.
Here, taking the design. So show the design from the stone model. That's the design that you originally liked, the doctor liked, that didn't fit in the mouth. And then now show it against or aligned to the intraoral scan. Because
Yep.
that's really the payoff of what this was all about.
Yeah. So here's the intraoral scan, and here is the design file. So it is now aligned to my intraoral scan.
And so now you're just going to recut the implant interfaces into this design, basically, and then
Yep.
adapt the tissue.
Yep. I'll adapt the tissue. I'll fix the tooth positions a little bit. Um, and then I'll be able to, reprint this. Most of the time when you do these alignments, you don't have as much of a bite discrepancy as I have here. Um, because it's usually not the bite that's wrong, it's the position of the implants that ends up wrong. So you can see I'm kind of open here. So I'll have to do a little bit more adaptation. The nice thing about this is it gives me the ability to change some files around on the back end, and I can then use the denture workflow to move this stuff over and align it.
Hmm.
Because this file here that I actually aligned, it's not me scanning in, the bridge that I designed before I took it in. I actually pulled this file from the original case's CAD file. So it's legitimately the actual design.
Yeah, it's the high resolution
Yeah.
CAD design that you're starting from to align back to the intraoral scans.
Yeah, and I did this design with the denture module in 3Shape, so you get access to that try-in workflow now. So if I use this as my alignment here to align that CAD file back over, everything will be in the right position. I can adjust the positions of the teeth, readapt the tissue, and I'm done. There's no extra work that I really have to do.
So by doing this, you spent how much time, mentally preparing for aligning all of these scans, and then you saved how much time by not having to design from scratch again?
Yeah, this whole process here to do this alignment and rename these scans is like maybe 5 to 10 minutes worth of work. It's as long as you know which cases you're pulling things from and where those other scans are coming from, it's really simple to do. You really just need to be able to get that original CAD file aligned to the new scans. That's really all you have to do. And some of this could have been avoided had the implants actually fit, because then the doctor could have taken the intraoral scans with this bridge in place, and I wouldn't have had to do all this. But since it wouldn't seat, this is how I had to do it.
This episode is brought to you by Rebel Crown. Are your dental crowns seated in minutes with flush margins and personal one on one service? If not, it's your time to rebel. The Rebel Crown is designed by your personal technician who you can call or text anytime. Milled with premium harvest nanozirconia, manufactured here in the USA with a 1 week turnaround time. Learn more at rebel3d.com. That's REBEL 3D.com.
Yeah, I mean this digital workflow here is really just showing the advanced steps in, digitally remounting
Yep.
scans instead of, impressions in stone models back onto, adjustable articulators.
Yep. And really, the last step I have to do here is I just have to come here and click on this bridge and save it because now it's in an aligned position. So I can say design aligned and save that out so that when I go back into my folder here and I start pulling up these in the 3D viewer. So here's my design aligned. And then as I start to open these up, here's my edentulous arch. So see how it's now aligned.
Yeah.
But if I pull up the original design, it's not aligned because I have to resave it back out in that aligned position. That's why I
So
had to save it. Yeah.
after you align it, you have to save it, and then it
Yep.
basically is just changing the XYZ coordinates to match to
Exactly.
the iOS scan.
Yep. So that's why I had to do all that extra work, and then I have to save it there at the end, so it saves it in that new aligned position. But now as I go through, I can pull in the opposing, the scan body scan, and when I look at this, now everything is together in alignment here.
And so by understanding what you're capable of in realigning scans in 3Shape, my guess is that helps you troubleshoot with the doc when something doesn't fit in the mouth. Then you can then say, okay, doc, take a new scan, do this,
Yep,
send them to me, and I'm going to digitally remount the case or align the case, and then we'll get it fixed and I'll get you a new prosthetic, but you're not having to start from scratch.
exactly. Yep, and it's just like what we do on traditional workflows where, if we get a bunch of things from the doctor, we try to cross mount those on articulators. This is the same concept here. We're just cross mounting them digitally instead of with a articulator.
How much more accurate is this type of workflow, digitally remounting versus physically remounting?
Well, it's a lot more accurate just because when I'm doing these alignments, it's basically virtually done. So the computer looks for all the similarities in the
Yeah.
two scans that you're aligning, and it does a much better job doing it. A lot of times when we're doing this stuff traditionally, we're using like putty matrices, which those tend to round off as they set up, so they don't like things don't
Yeah.
fit into them really well, and then
They'll
you
have a
end up
little bit
with
of little bit of flex to
yeah.
them, or maybe they've got some interferences and something's not fully
Yeah,
seated. Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
with this, it's just, common points is all you need and you can realign pretty much everything. I mean, you saw the difference in the scan quality between the stone model and the intraoral scan, and I was still able to get those to align. And it's pretty accurate.
Amazing.
Yep.
Well, Brandon, my guess is this wasn't something you learned in 5 minutes. It probably
Yep.
are things you learned over time and troubleshooting and doctors sending you scan after scan after scan and just figuring out, can
Yep.
I make this scan valuable in my workflow and what do I need?
Yep.
This is
And
super cool.
you can use this for a lot of different things. I'll use it to, for example, if I do a diagnostic wax up for a doctor and then they want me to use the diagnostic wax up as the final, I'll do the same thing with all those scans. They'll send me, intraoral scans of the prep teeth. I already have intraoral scans or regular stone impressions of the original that I made the diagnostic wax up on. I'll bring everything in and I'll align it all, and then I'll use the copy and reuse CAD design workflow in 3Shape to copy the design files over. Then I just morph them to the margins and sculpt a little bit, and I'm done.
I love it.
Yep.
Brandon, thank you so much for sharing this super valuable insight. I would say this is a pretty critical element to know as a digital CAD designer, digital workflow, so that you're not constantly having to start from scratch
Yep.
and you're utilizing the data that you have. This is great. I'll put your contact information in the show notes so people could reach out to you if they need additional help and training.
Yep. Appreciate it.
Awesome, Brandon. Thanks for sharing. This was super cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, buddy. We'll see you.